everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order. Welcome, Green Hills community. We're so happy to have you in our house. We're so looking forward to your presentation. And I would like to start with the flag salute. Havana and Marcus will be leading us into the flag salute. Do you need
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be kind and work hard.
Thank you, Havana and Marcus. You did a great job for leading us into the pledge. This meeting is being televised and recorded for the transcription of the minutes. At this minute, speakers wishing to address the board this evening should turn in the completed speaker card to the board secretary. Trustee Barbeau, action taken in closed session?
Yes. In closed session, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the 5 yes votes and 0 no votes to approve the 2024-2025 Comprehensive School Safety Plans, Part 2 technical portion. This portion of the safety plan contains some confidential information that is protected from being publicly released.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Second. I'll motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, motion carries. All right, public comments. Speakers wishing to address the board on the items on the agenda may complete the speaker's card and submit them to the board secretary. Speakers addressing a specific item on the agenda will have the opportunity to address the board at the time of the agenda item in the meeting. If you're addressing the board on a non-agenda item, please be aware the provision of the Brown Act prohibits the board from acting or discussing such matters at this meeting. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person per topic and 20 minutes per agenda. First on the list, MEF, Ms. Layla.
Good evening, trustees, Board President Musa. Happy New Year, everybody. This is my first board meeting of the year. I know it's not yours, so thank you for all your hard work already. This is also my first board meeting with our new CBO, Mary Paulette, so welcome. I am the most entertaining person that you're going to see at any of these, so congratulations. Get excited, Mary, okay? And thank you, Superintendent Hickey. I know we've already been hard at work this year getting stuff ready for next year for funding. So I have an MEF update. For those of you in our audience who are new parents to the district or who don't know what MEF is, we're the Millbrae Education Foundation, and our whole goal is to raise money for our school district to help influence and encourage and educate all Millbrae students. So every dollar that is raised goes towards educational funding for every student in the district. We spread out programming across all 5 of our districts, or all 5 of our schools, so all 4 elementary schools, including Green Hills, who's here tonight. Now, I am a Green Hills parent. I'm wearing my Green Hills green for tonight. So I just want to give a little shout out to Green Hills and how much I love that school and how the teachers there and the principal there have helped raise 2 of my kids and soon a 3rd one who's the rowdy one in the back. So, hello, Green Hills. And a lot of our parents from Lomita Park are here tonight, and we're just really excited that we have a full room for the board meeting. So, a few MEF updates. We closed out last semester with our blue shirt days, where we did a challenge to every school site to wear MEF blue. And then we had 2 donation days where we collected checks, cash, everything. And we did a competition between the schools. There was a dollars raised competition, there was a participation competition, and then there was a competition for how many people wore MEF blue shirts. So the school with 100% participation for wearing their blue shirts was actually Spring Valley. So we have a lot of board representation from Spring Valley. Our highest fundraiser during those 2 days was Meadows Elementary School. So good job, Meadows. And the award that I think I'm most proud of and that I get most excited about was our participation award. So the most families that donated during our blue shirt days was actually Lomita Park. So congratulations, Lomita Park. And they actually tripled some of the schools' participation rates. So we could not do it without every school that's here in the district, and we're very thankful for what every one of our schools brings. So the other big announcement is that we just closed our annual readathon. Special shout out to Jerome for all of his help and support during the readathon. We also did Lunar New Year merchandise. Also, thank you, Jerome, for helping design our Lunar New Year merchandise. I have it on good authority that we might be able to get more if you did not get your red sweatshirt or your tote bag. We raised over $50,000 during the MEF readathon this year, so we met and exceeded our goal. And I will tell you, the most exciting thing about it is that on Saturday, going into our deadline of like Monday, we were at like 23,000, 24,000. And I called Anshu, who is former PTA president at Green Hills, and she's our current VP of operations, and readathon is her baby. And I was like, what are we gonna do? Every year we have some kind of pivot at the end. And she was like, I don't know, I'm out of pivots. Like I'm out, we're at the end. And what happened was that Millbrae came together. So we basically sent out an SOS to our superintendent and to our PTA principals and to our PTA presidents and to our principals. And we said, we need your help. Like, we can't do this alone. And they got the word out. So thank you, Superintendent Hickey. Thank you, principals who are here. And thank you, PTA leadership who's here. You were our pivot this year. So thank you so much for raising basically half of it's a 2-week program, and we raised half of it in the last 2 days. And the best part about it is that we had 2 parents at the end. We had not hit our mark by Monday night, which was our deadline, or Tuesday night, which was our deadline. And I got a call and they said, hey, we've pulled some money and we want to be an anonymous donor. So if you can get folks up to this amount, we will match up to $3,500 and then get you guys across the finish line. And that happened. We put that out there to the parents and to the families and to the aunties and uncles and grandparents for our Millbrae kids, and you guys did it. So we exceeded our goal of $50,000. It's the most we've ever raised for readathon, and that's all thanks to the parents, the grandparents, the community that is Millbrae. So good job, everybody. Now, I brought a prop tonight because my most favorite day of the year is coming up in about a month. I will give this prize. This is a prize. Okay, it's a prize. Now, you have to live in Millbrae or have a place where you can put this in Millbrae or a Millbrae home, like a school district home, to get this prize, okay? Everyone got the rules? The first person to tell me when is this year's annual gala, give me the date.
Are we allowed to participate?
You are not allowed. Oh. You're gonna get a lawn sign, don't worry, Maggie. Okay? But the first person to tell me when is the MEF Gala this year gets a lawn sign. I see you. You're smiling. You know when? Yeah, you. Yes, you looking around. Who needs a lawn sign? Who can tell me when the MEF Gala is? Kids, do you know? Oh, come here. Right here, come here. When's the MEF? Yeah, you. When's the MEF Gala? Congratulations. She's actually on our gala committee, so it's a little bit of a cheat there. But MEF Gala is March the 8th. Ticket sales are open. Go to millbraekids.org. We're in the early bird pricing. So if you don't buy your ticket by February 13th, your price is going to go up, okay? So right now, it's under $200. After February 13th, it's over $200. So we need as many people to come out. Last year, we had 270 folks come to the gala, and we raised almost $250,000 across our live auction, our silent auction, and our fund to need that night. So I'm very competitive, but I'm most competitive with myself. So this is my last year as MEF president, and we have to go out with a bang. So March 8th, our goal is over 250K. We want everybody to come. Ticket sales are live, and I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you parents there that night. Now, it's a night for the kids, but the kids are not invited. The kids are not invited. There is free childcare. The first 75 people to sign up do get free childcare provided by Cam Ed and Happy Hall. So come out to the best party in Millbrae, March 8th, and I will see you there.
Thank you, Lena, for the update. MEA, CSEA, and members of the community. Linda? No, okay, thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is the best part of the night, is the Green Hills Spotlight. So I would like to invite Principal Kerry Dees.
Where are you going, Kerry? You went the wrong way.
You said I was going before you.
I don't set the agenda.
That's this?
Save the
Okay.
best for last.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for having us here. Good evening, Board President Musa and trustees, Superintendent Hickey, and our cabinet here. It's my honor to present the Green Hills Spotlight. And it's February 4th. Excellent. So we're going to begin our spotlight by focusing on our mission statement. We established this a couple years ago. It was a big, comprehensive, collaborative effort with our staff. And you'll see in the following slides, this statement isn't just words on page. It's the very foundation of everything we do. Literacy Week. As you can see, March Madness is coming up, and we've aligned that as well with all the basketball enthusiasts. We celebrate Literacy Week every year in honor of one of our late teachers, Tom Gallagher. Tom had an infectious passion for books and a true gift for sharing his love of literature and with his students. This time in March, we will continue his legacy by exploring the power together and reaffirming the importance of literature in all our lives. Many of you in this room will also be invited to be a guest reader during this week, as I know some of you have in the past. And it's just a really fun, competitive way that kids read each book in the classrooms and they bracket down just like the Final Four of basketball. So we hope some of you can join us during that festivity. Colette, please join me. So it's something called AB 285, and it is from the education founders of the Department of Education. It's come down the pike, and it requires a certain amount of science courses and lessons in grades 1 through 12, including material on the causes and effects of climate change, as well as methods for mitigation and adaptation. I'm pleased to report that we're already ahead of the curve. We're actively supporting many of these requirements by adding more to our sustainable efforts as our students will present, and thanks to the leadership of our facilities director, Rudy Correa, in the house, and our strong partnership with the city of Millbrae, we've earned the Green Business Award.
Good evening, Millbrae community.
My name is Alelu.
And my name is Colette Morris.
This year, as two of the 5th grade Green Team leads, we focused on making some positive changes to our school's sustainability practices. We're excited to share a few of our accomplishments.
First, we tackled the issue of disposable utensils. We worked with Child Nutrition Services Director Rachel Geckos, our custodian Wilson, and cafeteria staff Miss Jennifer and Miss May to eliminate the wasteful straws and spork plastic foodware option. Instead, we presented this new, more sustainable practice to all the students in our classrooms.
Second, we participated in a sustainable foodware pilot program, thanks to the help of high school student Sydney Chin. This program gives students the option to receive a free set of biodegradable foodware, replacing the plastic utensils offered by the cafeteria.
Finally, and perhaps most visibly, we installed rain barrels. With the help of Flows to the Bay, parents, and students, we assembled 4 giant rain barrels. These are now capturing rainwater for our gardens and compost, diverting water from storm drains. This helps prevent debris from entering and potentially polluting our waterways. We're proud of these initiatives and the positive impact they're having on our school and community.
Thank you, Colette. They have some stickers they wanted to pass out to some of our board members, just to remember from their computers or their water bottles. There's never a wrong space or place to remember about keeping our earth protected and any kind of sustainability efforts you can make, like those plastic water bottles. Okay. Attendance. Consistent attendance is key to unlocking a student's full potential. And at our school, we're committed. You can have them. Pass them amongst your friends. We're committed to fostering a culture of attendance excellence. To further emphasize this, the class with the highest percentage of attendance each month will receive a coveted trophy, along with a well-deserved bragging rights, and a bonus recess of some fun, plus a little free time for their teacher. We share this exciting news of these winners each and every month through Parent Square, so be sure to check that out. SEL and PBIS. Green Hills is dedicated to fostering a positive, respectful environment for students, and our Silver PBIS Award is a reflection of that dedication. This September, we had the opportunity to attend a PBIS conference in Sacramento, where we gained invaluable insights to further enhance our program. We're implementing new signage throughout the campus. Again, thank you, Jerome. To promote expected behaviors, and our grade level assemblies will continue to play a vital role in shaping our school culture. Our recent assembly, thanks to the 2nd grade team, on kindness was a perfect example of how we integrate character development into our PBIS framework. In addition, we have a new school cheer. Welcome 2nd and 3rd grades up to the steps. And if you didn't notice that little teeny tiny ram in the back, that's a new mascot. Thank you, PTA. Our ram is up there. And of course, you're welcome to join us in our cheer. Guys, I'll give us a countdown. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. GREEN.
H-I-L-L-S. Green Hills, Green Hills, we are the very best. Be safe, be respectful, be responsible every day. Be kind, work hard, do your best in every way. Go Rams!
Thank you, second and third graders, and thank you, families, for bringing them out to share this wonderful new cheer that we sang. Go ahead, guys, you can go sit back down with your families. And if there is a little thread you see here, after the pledge, did you hear Green Hills say about 4 more words? They too are embedded in what we do every day, which is be kind and work hard. So, as we just kind of wrap things up here, I just want to take a moment to express my extreme gratitude for the incredible staff at Green Hills Elementary. Their dedication, hard work, and passion for creating an inclusive and equitable learning environment are evident in everything we do. From fostering engaging lessons to supporting each student's individual needs. The Green Hills staff goes above and beyond to ensure that every child has the opportunity to thrive. In addition, building a strong community has a shared responsibility, and at Millbrae, we see that commitment in every action every day. As you've seen it, it takes everyone involved to make our school the special place that it is. So without hesitation, our MEF, from the works of Layla and her team, our PTA, from our PTA presidents to board members and everyone who participates in our school events. We always thank Millbrae Lions and Rotary for their gifts and their support at our schools. As you can see, we have new Deputy James and Teddy. Sometimes they know Teddy's name before they know Deputy James. But this is an essential part of our community. And if you're not busy tomorrow morning, we're launching our first Wednesday Walk to School Day that isn't tied to any other special event. And I think the weather will be better than today. So we're meeting up at those 3 normal spots, and we're gonna hopefully get more people to do what's best for our earth, get out of your cars and onto your feet and walk to school. And with that, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for an amazing presentation. I'd like to make just a comment about your mission statement. I love the fact that it says empower students to be compassionate humans, problem solvers, and lifelong learners. Kids, as adults, there's never a day goes by, it doesn't matter how old you are, there's always a moment to learn something new. So keep that in mind. So with that, I'd like to open up to my colleagues, if they'd like to have some questions or comments. I'll start with Trustee Ferrario.
Way to go, Principal Dees and students and parents and everybody in the community. You continue to shine. Your staff is always working collaboratively. Green Hills, we can always count on Green Hills teachers to always go the extra mile, like you said. I'm really looking forward to Literacy Week because members of the community, I know the board will be seeing you all and you all the students during that, on that Tuesday, I think it is, for us to come in and read to the students, and that's always a really fun time. I just want to say your green efforts are unbelievable. I think all of the schools in Millbrae should take a field trip to Green Hills to see that piece of their playground where they have the recycling, the campus is beautiful. They're working really hard. They have really earned that Green Award for sure. And I think it's something that we should all aspire to, all the schools. So if we can just make sure that all the schools have a chance to visit, and I'm sure you'd like to have them come. Your attendance project where there's competition, some people don't think competition is really that good. I, for one, think that sometimes a little competition really hits the nail on the head, so to speak. And I think we're not putting a school against a school. We're not putting children against children. We're putting our students, we're empowering them to make a change. And they know how important attendance is. So I really commend you on the attendance piece, because that has been something that has been all over our LCAP at every school. So also, I'd love to remember Tom Gallagher. He was a colleague of mine. I'm glad that the Green Hill staff continues to remember him for his love of literature. And so with that, I think I'll just say congratulations, Green Hills. Continue to shine. You're the best.
Principal Dees, thank you very much for that great presentation as usual. Every year you come in with your kids and your parents, and you have the best presentation that we could see. Go Rams. I have a Save the Planet sticker here. I'm going to put it on my fridge tonight when I go home. Thank you very much. And the second graders, fantastic. That cheer was so exciting to hear that. I videoed it. I'm going to go home and show my family when I get home. So thank you so much for your presentation and your PBIS Silver Award. Wow, that's fantastic. That really is. Congratulations. Thank you.
Claire?
Congratulations on a great presentation. I just want to commend you on your awards, the silver for the PBIS and then also the green school. It's fantastic that you were able to get rid of those silly straws and sporks. I mean, I'm so impressed with that, because I know as being a principal here in Millbrae for years, that was something that always just irked you to see all those things being thrown away. It was such a waste. Nobody ever used them, and they just, yeah. So landfill will be much better without those things, so congratulations. And definitely, like Trustee Ferrario said, we need to get all of the schools on board with that, and so that they can rise to that model that you've already shown. I'm looking forward to your Literacy Week. It was a highlight last year. I was able to read at some of your classes, and I'm looking forward to coming out and reading to the kids again. It's great that you're honoring Tom Gallagher. He was an awesome teacher, and I really respected his dedication to our district. And the attendance awards, that's great. I know you kids are all working really hard, so you get the bragging rights. So congratulations on a great presentation, and good luck tomorrow on your walk to school.
Trustee Chin?
Go Rams! Principal Dees, your energy is always contagious, and I absolutely want to congratulate the students. It's so evident your school spirit and your school's pride, and I think that's so important to keep learning fun and to make school fun every day. So I absolutely love that you have a new cheer, and go Rams. I also wanted to congratulate and thank the staff on all of the amazing awards and the wonderful things and programs you guys have implemented. I'm especially impressed with the green initiatives. So good job, students, on implementing that. That's a ton of waste that you are actually preventing from going into landfill. And I really hope that maybe you could implement that program, not just have the kids visit, but also implement that into maybe the other schools, because it's probably a pretty simple and easy thing for everybody to be able to just bring their own silverware. And I would love to see that at the other schools and at Taylor and even in the high schools. I think you guys can start a little butterfly effect here. So that's about it. Everything else is wonderful. Congratulations to you all, and thank you, Principal Dees and your entire staff, students, and the community for a great job. Well done.
Great job, Green Hills, way to be.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Sorry, Maggie.
You can go sit down, no big deal. No, but anyway, I'm not going to repeat all the stuff that my colleagues have said, so I agree with everything, ditto. Again, a great shout out to you and your leadership, as always. A shout out to our teachers, because and of course, our parents, and the most important part is their children. The reason we're all here, everything we do is for you guys. So anyway, keep learning. Again, keep listening to that mission statement. Keep learning. Every day is a good day to learn something new, and there's never a day that you can go by without learning something new. I don't know if that makes sense, but in my head it did. Anyway, so we're going to take a little break because I know it's a school night and the kids have to go to school tomorrow. We're going to take a break and we have some cookies, and we'll continue back with continue our trustee comments. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we're back. We are going to continue trustee comments and communications, so I'm going to open it up to my colleagues. Whoever has something to share, go for it.
Hi, I'm just going to make a quick announcement about our Rotary Lunar New Year banquet, which is coming up this Friday. Hopefully going to be seeing a lot of people out for this big event. It's the Rotary's one big fundraiser, and everything that's raised that evening goes right back into our schools and our kids. So it's a really great, fun experience to have while we're raising money to support our schools. Also, I want to give a shout out to one of our workers here on the district. I pick up at Meadows every day in the afternoon, and I just want to give a shout out to their crossing guard, Megan Knight. She's new this year, and she is just awesome. She's so friendly, she's so warm, she's on the job 100%. Just great job, and it's just so reflective of the type of people that work here in Millbrae School District. They're so dedicated and eager to just make it so smooth transitions and helpful for our kids and families. So great work, and that's all for me tonight.
Great, thank you. Trustee Chen?
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to thank the MEF and our entire community for doing a great job on the readathon. That's absolutely amazing. So thank you, entire community, Layla and Jerome, is that? Yes, And Anshu, yes, and more than I can name in this room. Secondly, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year. So in Chinese, that would be Gong Hei Fa Choi. I can't say it in all the other languages, sorry. But Lunar New Year is one of the most important celebrations across many Asian cultures. And it's a time of family, tradition, and new beginnings. And for me, growing up, Lunar New Year was always a time of joy and connection for me, and it meant, gathering with family, honoring our ancestors, sharing meals, and lighting firecrackers to drive away bad spirits, all while embracing a fresh start filled with health and prosperity. So these traditions weren't just fun for me, but they gave me a deep sense of cultural pride and belonging, big sense of belonging. So this year, we welcome the Year of the Snake, a symbol of wisdom, intuition, and transformation, and qualities that remind us to embrace growth and change as we move forward. So I want to take this moment to wish everyone in our community good health, happiness, prosperity, and a fresh start in the new year. Secondly, I want to thank parents for their involvement with reviewing the master plan. So I see a lot of parents are still here, and I'm happy to see the interest in the plan and a careful look at the details. So we need parents and communities to be involved in this process, and we as the board will do our best to make decisions that we think are in the best interest of our community. And we need your feedback. The district is actively looking for people to join the board, to join the Bond Oversight Committee. I don't know if you all saw that there was an announcement looking for applications on Wednesday that came out, I think, a couple days last week, sorry. The deadline is February 21st, and I'm hoping that we will get some folks knowing about it and applying for that, because we would love to have folks on the team. And that's about it for me.
Thank you, Trustee Chen. Anybody else? Comments?
Good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, shout out to MEF. My gosh, all of you out there participated in that amazing, amazing effort. And to surpass what we had last year at the last minute was just, and who could refuse Layla? I mean, seriously? Who can? And then there's Kerry Dees. How can you refuse Kerry, right? So, I mean, you've got it all, and Anshu. And the list goes on and on. But anyway, thank you for all that. Happy Lunar New Year. I'm looking forward to Friday night with, what is it, Zen Peninsula? Yeah. Peninsula, amazing meal. And I think there's another event coming up in March that Layla mentioned. I don't know if the other, when is it, Layla? Oh, that's right, yeah. We were wondering, as a board, what is the attire this time? It's infinity and beyond. That kind of scary. Okay. Okay, that makes it easy. And no one remembers last year, right? The black dress covers it, right? Great. I just wanted to mention that our Lamita Park community, Marina Vista Park, is having an event this Saturday. And I think we'll hear more about that, but if you can attend the Marina Vista Park on Saturday morning, what time is it, Nicole? 11 a.m. That would be wonderful. It's a new park, and we want to show our support for our friends over in the Lamita Park area. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I also want to wish our community a happy Lunar New Year. I had the opportunity to go to the festival. It was downtown was it last weekend? Yes, I mean, it was busy. I was packed. I mean, I took my dogs for a walk, and it was just really hard to get through because there's so many people. A lot of out-of-towners as well, so it was a good event. It's a yearly event, so always fun to go down to. I'd also like to piggyback on Trustee Chen, what she said in regards to the master plan. And I kind of, this has been a long process, and this has been, this also piggybacks on the 2018 master plan. And I'm just kind of excited and happy that you guys are reading it, because when we first got it, I'm like, oh, such a long document, and it's so, too much details, but for you guys to be involved and really read it and be a part of the decisions that we're gonna make, you have to know every decision that the board makes is what's best for kids and what's best for our community, and moving forward, and we'll have, you know, our financial advisor here, and we'll have a talk about the master plan. But again, we're excited that you guys are part of this process. Anyway, so next, I'd like to superintendent update.
Right. Mr. Horn, will you be able to advance slides for me? Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So for the superintendent's report, I'm just going to start with a topic that I know is, can you advance one more time, please, Horn? That is, I think, you know, has caused a lot of fear and anxiety, especially in the last few weeks. And just to reiterate that the Millbrae Elementary School District is ensuring a safe and welcoming and learning environment for all students. You know, just a couple of key principles: that all children have the right to a free and appropriate public education, regardless of their immigration or citizenship status, and that we will not be grant access to immigration enforcement officers without a judicial warrant or a court order. And we just take student privacy really seriously, and we don't collect information about students or their families' immigration status. We have done a few things in the last couple of weeks. We have met with site administration and our admin assistants to review district protocols and procedures, and information has been shared with all of our staff. Actually, this evening, one of the things we are doing is, because it's always an ongoing process to update our board policies and administrative regulations, so we are proposing under our board governance, the board policy in AR 5145.13, which is a specific board policy as a response to immigration enforcement. The other thing we are doing is just monitoring absences and supporting families with resources. I know that a lot of that, I see our family engagement specialist here, Desiree, and you know, just talking to our administrative assistants about what the stories are and how we can support our families. Right, next slide. I just want to talk a little bit. It's already registration season, so we're looking at incoming registration numbers. Our admin assistants have done a wonderful job. They've had many registration appointments starting from January 21st. Next year is the year that we will have all students who are 4 who are TK eligible. So as long as they turn 4 by September 1st of 2025, they're eligible for TK. A little scary for us because it means that we could have some students starting at 3, and we'll just be a little bit more prepared for it, because this year I think everyone's all good now. You walk into TK classrooms and it looks great, but I know after the first week there were still some criers, which is understandable because they are newer. But see, Ms. Valencia, are there any criers anymore? Sometimes? Sometimes. Okay. Anyway, TK also moves to a 10-to-1 ratio in the 25-26 school year. I put Taylor there, not on the chart, because we do have about 8 new students who are registering for 6th grade for next year. But if you kind of look at the schools, we have quite a number of TKs who are already enrolled. And then you see the kindergarten numbers. So there are definitely some areas where we are fairly impacted, and areas where we need to, as a board, and we'll talk about this in the future, kind of look at how we plan for our TK. Lomita Park, actually, you know, sometimes we typically have registrations that come a little later, but in talking to Tina Mondani, she said that this is the highest numbers. Oh, here, thank you, Tina, right? The highest numbers we've had in a while. So, and thank you, Tina, because I know you're working hard with all of the registrations that are coming in. All right, next slide. So, I know we've all kind of mentioned it, but Lunar New Year celebrations. We did have a lion dance that came to many of the elementary schools last Wednesday. And I have been kind of doing my yearly going around to school sites and reading Lunar New Year books. I actually have a whole Zodiac collection. My mom has gifted them to me every year, so This year that I'm reading Year of the Snake, and next year I already have my Year of the Horse, and so it's just fun to go to all the elementary schools and read. I think I'm reading to about, well, 6 different time slots for each of the elementary schools, but a lot of times the grade levels will get together, so it ends up being more than 6 classes. And the last slide, look at that. Layla, I did an MEF slide for you too. So, but we exceeded the $50,000 goal. I took that screenshot Sunday night, so, you know, might be a little over, but, well, my eyes are not that great, but it's over 50,000, I promise on that. Okay, well, I knew it's not in real time, so just want to point that out. And then, great. And then the Infinity Gala, March 8th, and then you really only have until next Thursday for the early bird pricing. And you forgot to mention this special VIP lounge option, Layla, from 5 to 6 p.m. So, all right. I will be addressing the facility master plan, and I will have comments when the item comes up. So I don't want you to think that I'm not going to address it, but I'm waiting until that item comes up. That's it for my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent Hickey. Okay, next on the agenda, presentation. So again, thank you, Milbrae, for helping us pass Measure J. It's gonna, tonight is kind of works out with the Measure J. We have our financial planner, Blake is here, and we also have Meredith from DWK, and they will be talking tonight about how we move forward, how this money is gonna be given to us, I guess another way. So kind of the process, it's a process. The money, we don't just get the money. There's a process how we get the money and how we get to spend it, so.
Community. My name is Meredith Johnson. I work with Dennis Wolliver Kelly. I am your bond counsel. So I started before the election and preparing the resolution and the contents of the measure that went out to the community to vote on. And then now that the community has given their approval and voted yes, congratulations. Now it's my job to help you with the legal requirements of actually issuing the bond so that you can access the money.
Thank you for the thank you for the introduction. Blake Beam with K&M Public Finance. I've had the pleasure of working with the district for a long time, and I'm so excited for you guys to have passed Measure J. So just a huge shout out to the community for being supportive of this. And I know the master plan will come later, it sounds like, in discussion, but there's a lot of, from what I understand of it, a lot of phenomenal. So, as Meredith mentioned, we have a short presentation. We've kept it kind of high level, but we'll talk about the process and just the accessibility of these new bond dollars that the community approved. So I'll turn it back over to Meredith and talk about just some of the sequencing.
So you may recall back in December, the very first step that needs to be taken after a bond measure passes is for the board to certify the election results. The county held the election on your behalf. They sent you the results, and then they were entered into the minutes back in December. And that date is important because there's one more step that needs to be done before we actually issue bonds. That is establishing and appointing a Citizens Oversight Committee. So prior to 2001, when a school district passed a bond measure, they needed 66% approval from the voters. In 2001, Prop 39 came along, lowered the voter approval threshold to 55%, much more attainable, and allows many more school districts to actually pass measures in facilities. But in exchange for lowering that threshold, there were some accountability provisions that were added to school district bonds. You may recall that the measure had a project list attached to it that was printed in the sample ballot that the voters got to review before they decided to vote yes or no. So in addition to adding the project list as a requirement of Prop 39, there is an accountability provision that a group of citizens in the community be appointed to be the folks who review the expenditures from the bonds, the proceeds of the bonds, after they're made, and compare them to that project list that the voters approved when they passed the measure. So their job really is to be kind of the loudspeaker for the community, receive information from you about the expenditures that you make after you make them, these have been spent, and to confirm that in fact those expenditures were for something that was on your project list. And they are an independent committee themselves. They hold their own meetings, which actually are subject to the Brown Act. So anyone is invited to come to a meeting, a board meeting. The members of the committee themselves will appoint their own chairperson and vice chairperson, whatever officers they choose. So they're self-governing in that aspect. If you want to go to the next slide. And there are some requirements for who you appoint to that committee. So there are 5 representatives: a parent in the district, a parent who's active in a PTA, someone who represents a senior citizens organization, someone who is a member of a taxpayers organization, someone who represents the business community, in addition to 2 at-large members. So minimum 7 membership requirement in order to meet your obligation to create the oversight committee. That's the board is required to create this committee and then appoint those particular members in order to fulfill the obligation, the promise you made to voters when they approved your measure. They serve for terms of at least 2 years. And they're only allowed to serve 3 consecutive terms. It's important that the folks that are appointed to the oversight committee are objective. Because of that, we cannot appoint employees, vendors, or contractors. We don't want anyone who might have a financial relationship that would not make them able to review your expenditures without some other thing in their mind that might color their review. We want an objective committee so that the community knows that you're providing them with a group of folks who can hear the information you're providing and make sure that you are in fact spending your decided to vote yes.
Thank you. Just a quick question. You said 2 additional board members. In the past, we've had board members as part of that committee. Is that still a thing?
The bond oversight committee.
Okay.
Because keep in mind that the board is charged with responsibility for deciding the priorities for the projects, for deciding which projects to undertake, with obviously consulting with staff and discussing what the needs are of the district. So if a board member were on the committee, you basically were doing your own decisions.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Questions?
It says a minimum of 7, is that correct?
Correct.
But you can always have more than 7.
You can have more.
Okay.
One thing I want to point out, though, is because the meetings are subject to the Brown Act, you have to have a quorum in order to have a meeting. The larger the committee gets, sometimes it's harder to have a quorum.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And then I guess the Taxpayers Association, can you describe what and who that may actually be?
Well, so it can be any organization that has taxpayer issues as something that is a matter that it discusses or that's an issue. There are certain taxpayer organizations like the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, California CalTax it's called, but it can also be any group of folks organized who have paying taxes as something that is part of their strangely, a homeowners association is also a taxpayers association, because they're all homeowners, taxes within the.
Okay.
It can be tricky, it's not the.
Yeah, I was going to say, are there sometimes challenges, and if you cannot find somebody in one of those groups, what happens?
So the board has an obligation and a responsibility to appoint this committee so that the community has folks. It's important that if nobody volunteers immediately, that we just keep working to find them, that we keep posting the opening slot, that we leave it on the website, put it in parent newsletters or whatever out to the community, so they know that the community is aware that this
Because this person also has to reside in Millbrae, is that correct?
There actually is no residency requirement.
Okay.
Okay. That's good to know.
And then one other question, how often do they meet so people understand?
I would say not more frequently than quarterly, and it kind of depends on how many bond expenditures are happening. So in the beginning, when bonds are first issued and there are a lot of projects underway, quarterly is probably good. But if you're sort of in between bond issuances, you're not spending a lot of bond proceeds, you may not have to meet so often, because really the main point of the meeting is to share information about how the project's bond proceeds are being spent. How much expenditure you have to share, that may dictate.
So in the case, because we just passed the bond, and so this summer we'll be doing some projects, but not major because we not enough time to plan. But just in case between now, just this year, we don't fill every position, can we move on with just maybe 4? Or just what is the minimum of,
There's no minimum.
There is
I
no
would say
minimum.
You have an obligation to establish
Okay,
it within
got it.
60 days
Yeah.
of whenever you entered the results of the December board meeting into your minutes.
Yeah,
I would proceed with appointing whatever members you have,
okay,
and
and just build on it. Got it, thank you. Any other questions? No?
One more.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, one more. We already have a parcel tax oversight committee and a budget committee. Is it possible to combine committee members and the meeting itself?
not employees of the district.
Okay.
That's a good, okay, thank you. Blake?
Thank you. I failed to introduce, also joining us tonight is Catherine Jacobson with RBC Capital Markets. She has also worked with the district for a long time, serving in the capacity as a bond underwriter. She'll play an instrumental role, her firm will play an instrumental role in actually marketing the district's bonds to the marketplace once we So once the bond results came in, really what that approval of the measure entails is authority for the district to issue long-term bonds or debt that is ultimately repaid by property taxes. So the $95 million that Measure J authorized is now available, and it's typically not going to be drawn down all at one time because of planning and design efforts and just cash flow needs. Drawing down all $95 million and incurring an interest cost on that debt is not the most economically friendly strategy to go with. So district staff, along with the financing team, will incrementally present opportunities to draw down funds from Measure J to align with capital projects and cash flow needs. And so on this slide here, it outlines really our high-level baseline planning scenario for how we currently think it's going to be accessed. But there's a lot of variables that come into play, and the likelihood of some change in dates and amounts is pretty high. But for right now, we're really focused on the first bond issuance. Based on discussions with staff, we're currently looking at drawing down the first $20 million from that $95 million authorization. That will be spent or should be spent over a 3-year period. There's a spend down requirement that roughly 85% of these proceeds should be spent over that 3 years. If there's still proceeds from the first series, it doesn't preclude the district from issuing the next series. It just has to align within that 3-year spend down window. So that's kind of the planning horizon that we look at when we're talking about actually issuing bonds from the Measure J authorization. So Series B and C are currently planned roughly every 3 years, exactly, for the reasons that I described. However, if after a robust planning and prioritization process through the board, there's decisions and there's an expectation of a large cash need for a specific project, there is the chance that the Series B may be sold sooner than 2028. And that's okay. It's, it's my job, along with Catherine and her team, to ensure that the debt that's sold stays within the tax rate that was promised to voters when being asked to approve Measure J. And so that's our main focus, and that's kind of what this bar chart represents, is how, based on these amounts and this timeline, how we would structure the debt to be repaid over over the repayment period, all while staying within the tax rate promise that was made to voters. And then I give even more numbers and more detail. Hopefully folks don't gloss over at all of this. I think the points that I would want to make here is this focuses on just the Series A issuance, the 20 million. In the first 3 years, I'm looking at the table to the right, in the first 3 years, we're paying down large chunks of the loan because there's no other debt to have to account for. There's not the Series B and C debt there, but then you see it drops off after 2028. And the reason that we do that is to leave room for the next debt issuance, Series B bonds, and then of course, further down the road, Series C bonds. And so that's just kind of a, again, high-level way to explain how we approach our modeling of the debt and the tax rate constraint in kind of the top priority. These bonds are expected to be sold as current interest bonds, which is a type of bond that pays principal and interest each year. It's the most traditional, most economically friendly. It's really what school districts throughout the state typically use for their GEO bond programs. And each of the series of bonds will have a term of up to 30 years. We may be able to shorten the lifespan of a specific series of bonds if the district's assessed valuation within the community outpaces our projections. And you'll see on this slide, we assume 4% per year growth. The district has far exceeded that over the years. And so that's what I mean. If the district continues to grow at its historical average, that will provide for an ability to shorten the term of future series of bonds less than 30 years, hopefully shortening down the overall repayment of Measure J as a whole. And so I just pulled up the 20-year assessed valuation history is over 4.5%, 15 years is closer to 5, and the last 10 years, it's been well over 5. And so that's what I mean. We assume a conservative growth rate with the hopes that the district will continue to grow at a stronger level, making for more capacity to draw down Measure J, or simply just have lower tax rates for the taxpayers than what was outlined on the ballot measure. In addition to the issuance from Measure J, one of the priorities that this district has held in the highest regard is refinancing some of the old bonds that were passed a long time ago. The monies have long since been spent, but the taxpayers are still paying for those bonds. And so when there are opportunities to refinance that old debt, we present them to the board, evaluate what the savings look like. In the past, we've been able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars, even into the millions, by refinancing old debt. And so in this case, there are 2 series of the older 2011 Measure N authorization that are able to be refinanced. They were, in fact, already refinanced one time partially. So we're looking at refinancing the portion that was not refinanced back in 2020. It's highly interest rate sensitive, and so there's no guarantee that this refinancing will take place simultaneously with the Measure J issuance. But the hope is that if the market provides for sufficient economic savings to bring forth to the district's taxpayers, that we would present this refunding opportunity at the same time as the Measure J sale. The threshold that we look for when refinancing some of the older bonds is a minimum savings. It's not a dollar amount, but it's a percentage. It's how much the savings are relative to the amount of bonds refunded. Because there's not a lot of bonds that we left unrefunded from the last effort, it's a small dollar amount of savings that would clear this 3% present value savings threshold. But that is our benchmark. So if the plan is to go to market, and on the next slide I have a schedule of what the plan is for Measure J. Measure J is really the driver here, but if the plan is to go to market in March, and the interest rates provide for a sufficient level of savings that makes sense to move forward with a refunding too, then we will, should the board approve kind of this secondary financing effort. So with that, I'll just talk a little bit about the timeline. We wanted just to bring an informational report to the board, allow you to ask questions. From this evening's conversation, our plan is to meet with Moody's, which is one of the rating agencies. Each time we go to market, the investors are expecting to see a rating tied to the bonds so they can gauge what their interest level is and at what interest rate they want to purchase the bonds. So that's a conversation that we'll be having with staff along with analysts from the Moody's. That's expected to take place at the end of February, the week of February 24th. On March 4th, at the district's board meeting, we'll be presenting a couple different resolutions, one of which will be focused on the first issuance for Measure J, the second of which will be focused on the refunding. And I guess the one thing I'll point out is, should the board approve both of these resolutions, but when we go to sell the bonds in March, if the interest rates are not where we need them to be for the refunding, we will not issue the refunding bonds. And so I'll come back to the board and report how everything works out should you guys approve the resolutions on March 4th. The actual sale or market access for the bonds where we lock in interest rates is March 13th, and the transaction closes after on April 2nd. So that's when proceeds from Measure J will be available for projects to take place.
Right. Thank you. Well, you know what, we're always about refunding. You know, Blake, you've been with us for a long time with the first two bonds, and you've helped us over the years to refund a lot of money. And so that's always, you know, our taxpayers are always, you know, we enjoy that. So anyway, getting money back, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to open it up to, go ahead. Do you have any questions?
Moody's rating right now? Moody's rating?
You
Where are
do.
we at?
You're at a AA1, which is one notch below the highest rating that they offer at AAA.
Could you explain to everybody what that means?
Yeah, the rating scale, there's a lot of categories, but in general, there's the AAA, which is largely reserved for community-funded or basic aid school districts with high levels of reserves, strong policy in place, encompass a large geographic area of high socioeconomics, things of that nature. Next comes the AA rated category. The highest rating in the AA rated category is what Millbrae is, AA1. It goes AA2, AA3. The median for California school districts is in the AA3 range, so you guys are well above that median. And then below that is the single A rated category at A1, A2, and A3. There are many school districts that fall into the single A rating for a variety of reasons. Again, it could be local economics, socioeconomics, reserve levels, and so on and so forth. So Millbrae School District is well above the median for its peers among all California school districts. And then below the single A rated category, you get to BBB. That's the last level of investment grade bonds. Hopefully that's the explanation you were looking for.
Good news.
Good news, absolutely.
So the higher the rating is, the more likely we get investors for refunds, correct?
Yeah, that's a great point or question.
Yeah.
That's exactly the tie. It's not only drawing the largest amount of investors that are interested in purchasing the bonds, but it also drives down the interest cost for which these investors will require for the bonds. The higher the rating, the higher the credit profile, the safer the investment.
Yeah, I think of it like a credit score.
Yeah, I know. I just,
So, yeah.
some people might not know that.
Just to clarify, I know that you have a tentative issuance schedule here. When do we need to decide on that? If you're looking at a timeline that would start the week of February 24th. You know, I think that the master plan is clearly a starting point, but is not yet finalized, and there isn't quite an implementation plan yet put in place. So it doesn't define when we are starting our projects and when we would complete them, which would sort of kind of dictate our drawdown schedule. So I just want to make sure that, you know, we're sort of barreling towards this February 24th start date, that we're drawing down the appropriate amount, and that we don't get stuck feeling like, oh, we can't draw down, like say we want to rebuild a school sooner than 2028 and we need the money. What happens then?
I'll let Blake speak to how and when you can issue. What I wanted to add was that you can issue anytime. There's no limitations on how frequently or how often you issue. So long as, and Blake alluded to this earlier, you have a reasonable expectation when you issue the bonds that you'll be able to spend the proceeds in 3 years. So for example, the first issuance, 20 million, if you decided 6 months from now that you wanted to rebuild an elementary school and you needed more than that, assuming we're within the tax rate limitation, that's another constraint on issuing, you could go out and issue again. There are costs associated with issuing bonds, so it is more efficient to try and issue not every 6 months, and Blake had set it out as every 3 years, which is very efficient. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you are stopped from issuing sooner if you needed to. But to your point, it's worthwhile making sure that you have your ducks in a row so you do know what your needs are for the
Could I just make a comment that based on the tentative schedule, it was discussed with staff. I mean, not that, obviously it would need to be approved by the board, but I think when it was initially put out, it was kind of put out in a third, a third, and a third. But based on our facilities master plan and knowing that we would have some initial projects, you know, for Lomita Park having to do architect and those basic things to start, that's why we increased the tentative to the 50 million in B, because we know it is a couple of years out with all of the projects, so that it would cover the cost of what is currently budgeted for the Lomita Park rebuild, and then the end. So that there was some thought to creating a tentative schedule, and that's why we did adjust it a little bit. Of course, it can be adjusted, but initially it was kind of put out as a third, or a third, a third, a third. You can say it more, Blake, but I just wanted to kind of mention that.
No, I'm glad you did. And really the dialogue that we've had to date is around having access to some cash in the near term. So there can be some more quick start projects or more easy projects to start up, all the while the district will be incurring costs associated with larger projects like Lomita Park and the design and planning that will go into that. Meredith points out the drawdown of this 20 million over the 3-year period. I think everyone on inputs and expectations felt like that money is going to go over the 3 years. If you need access to the money sooner, then that's kind of why I was saying this is a very high-level planning timeline, and the Series B is not bound to be issued. That's probably on the longer end of when it actually will be. Hopefully that helps clarify.
Absolutely. And would you recommend spending down our current funds that we have that are set aside from developer fees and other things versus drawing down more? Like, what would you spend first? Obviously, if we were looking at just straight interest rates, we would potentially draw down our own funds to pretty much nothing in our reserves before we, or do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the developer fees and other capital facility funds that the district has available are all considered holistically and integrated into Measure J as a supplemental source of funds. The reality is that the projects identified in the facilities master plan are going to likely exceed what Measure J has authorized. So those funds will come into play. And there's also different caveats associated with developer fee funds versus the Measure J funds, specifically modernization versus growth and new construction needs. So all of it is balanced and taken into consideration. I think the most important thing to keep in mind is the planning horizon and what the expectations are for cash that's needed over that planning horizon. And as new variables come into play, there's going to be constant communication and conversations that are had with consultants and staff to make sure that there's sufficient cash on hand, that projects are moving forward smoothly and efficiently. And we're going to plan accordingly on how we draw down Measure J as some of those.
All right, that gives us an overview, something for us to kind of think about while we're working on this master plan. Well, so, but I guess my takeaway would be the money is there. I'm assuming it's already February. I doubt that we're going to be doing major projects this summer. So I don't know the $20 million, is it, so we get the $20 million, is there a chance that we don't have to? So we don't pay? Does that make? Yeah, but to save the interest, can we draw down? Okay. I get it, but all right, I had no different thought, but I'll talk to you about that later. Okay, no, all right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for the presentation. Hopefully you get your flight back. You're leaving tonight?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next, consent agenda. I need a motion for approval. Karen, did you want to change?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. You wanted to,
Yeah, was there one
Was there
correction
something you
wanted
wanted
to
to
bring
pull
up
out?
in the minutes?
Oh, yeah, I noticed that in the minutes, there was a typo for the amount of funds raised from the last MEF readathon. And it should be 50,000, not 150, despite our desire for it to have been.
So, do you want to,
So I'll amend the motion to
yes.
approve the consent agenda with the change made to the minutes as specified.
okay.
Didn't anybody second that?
Second? I need a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
The amendment.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries. All right, next, review of CSBA policy updates. I'm going to, Superintendent Higgins.
I have next on the agenda, are we moving to district business of school accountability report cards?
I don't, oh, I started on the, okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so
Never mind, I was looking on the bottom.
yes, district business number one. So this is the approval of the 23-24 school accountability report cards. The acronym for this is SARCs. The documents are attached from all the sites, and it is kind of an overall snapshot of various items, including parental involvement, class size, teachers, and the credentialing. And so it is recommended that the board approve the school accountability report cards as presented this evening.
Motion to approve? Well, we have to put in.
So this is an action item. So we do need a
Aye.
Sorry, no, thank you. Yeah. Did you get it? All in favor, say aye. Okay, got it. All right, motion carries. All right. Next on the agenda is the Facilities Master Plan. And so this is also an action item for tonight, but I'm sure Superintendent Lisa Hickey.
Okay, so thank you. I'm going to address, so the next item is item 2, the approval of the Facilities Master Plan. So we have been talking about a Facilities Master Plan for a number of months. And a Facilities Master Plan is a long-term guiding document that helps the district assess the condition of our school buildings, prioritize facility needs, and plan future improvements. It does not mandate specific actions, but instead provides a framework for decision-making based on available funding, district priorities, and community input. The goal is always to create a safe, modern, and effective learning environments for all of our students. So moving forward, though, there will be board action for each major project. With that in mind, I do want to acknowledge the concerns that have been raised about the language in the implementation section on pages 11 and 12 of the plan. We have heard from families, specifically at Lomita Park Elementary, who are understandably worried about the wording on that page. I deeply appreciate the engagement from our families. It is a reflection of how much our community values its schools. The Facilities Master Plan is a planning tool, again, not a decision-making document created by an independent party who assesses the overall district facilities, makes recommendations, and provides the board with options to consider. The board and the district leadership remain committed to supporting all of our schools, including the planned rebuilding of Lomita Park Elementary. That said, I do recognize that some of the language in this section has caused concern, and so I want to ensure that our community feels confident in our intentions. And so to address this, I am presenting a revised version of the Facilities Master Plan tonight that removes bullet points A, B, C, and D from pages 10 and 11. So trustees, you have a new copy there, and for the members of the public, there are copies on that little tray table that you can grab if you want to look at those specific pages. And again, I just want to express my gratitude to our families for their advocacy and commitment to our schools. Your voices matter, and we are listening. So I look forward to this discussion and working together to ensure that the Facilities Master Plan reflects our shared vision for the future of Millbrae School.
Thank you. We have a couple of speakers. I'd like to call out Nicole Shikawa first.
Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. I'm not that tall. Also, I'm a little under the weather, so thank you, Superintendent Hickey, for your words. I greatly appreciate Superintendent Hickey taking the time over the weekend that when the text of the document was read, and as it read, of course, some alarms went off, people were concerned. I reached out to key partners that I know of within the community, and they had the same sense of, no, that's not what I knew to be true. So I appreciate Superintendent Hickey getting right back and helping to calm some of those fears. But I know that for a large part of our community, and I put this in my email to Superintendent Hickey that I sent her, our community at Lomita Park, we still remain on edge because the historical relationship with the district office and how things had not progressed over the past previous years, mainly under the guise of Superintendent French, who is no longer around. We will say thank you to that, however that ended up being. So we greatly appreciate Superintendent Hickey, the new leadership that is there. We feel that things are moving in in a very good direction, in the right way. But just to share that concern, it's not to put, we know that we have a very strong board here that very much represents, we've had a lot of change in leadership in a great way amongst the board and at the district. So we feel like things are going in the right direction, that we're starting to move the ball up the hill instead of us constantly at the bottom pushing it upwards. So we did just want to share, thank you very much for that. We feel the support, but just know that that apprehension and that uncertainty, it's going to be there for a while. And so that's why we raise the bar, we raise the alarm. Hey, I hope this isn't true. I hope it's not, but that's why we're here. Again, that's, I mean, the main thing that I just want to say, we appreciate all of the reception that we've received back regarding it, but just know that that's the place, and I'm speaking for myself, but I think I speak for a large portion of our Lomita Park community, that it's that unnervous edge that we battled a tough district office where every time we went to go to advocate for our kids, it was met with resistance and apprehension and things. So just, it all comes, I think you understand, it comes from a place of caring and love, and that's where it comes from. So I appreciate all the words that have been said here today, and the overall sentiment. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have another speaker, Joe Henry.
Thank you, Board President Musa, Board Superintendent Hickey, Cabinet. Thank you so much for being here. I wasn't expecting to speak, but as I was here a couple of months ago, almost half jokingly saying that when there's a call, then I'll take that call. So I took the call willingly. And I do thank you, Superintendent Hickey, for listening to the community members and really taking that to heart. That means a lot, I think, to all of us. But to be clear, right, when it comes to Lomita Park, I think even putting it in any writing, right, to say that there is a possibility to take that school off of the table, it's harmful in many ways. So I think as long as we can, and I just wanted to be clear about that, if we can take that language out even as an option, I think that would make everyone feel so much better. So that's it. And again, thank you so much, Superintendent Hickey. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And just once again, I urge you to grab a copy and look at pages 11 and 12 because it is now out of there and all A, B, C, and D have been removed.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to a discussion right now, but I just want to say something. So I want you guys as well.
You got to call for a motion to open to discussion, right?
Yeah,
We should motion to approve. So I'll motion to approve it.
Yeah, okay.
So we can discuss.
Second? Second. Okay. All right, so we're open for discussion. I just want to encourage all of you to go look at the 2018 master plan, because that was the initial, in 2018 when a former superintendent and CBO, Vaughn and Rick, when we start talking about a bond back then, the reason the board actually went ahead with the bond is because of the rebuild of Lomita Park. So unfortunately, once the plan was set, we got it going, and then Vaughn left, and then we got hit with the pandemic. So in 2020, when the board had the decision to go for the bond and we decided not to because we were not sure what the situation is going to be like. But if you look at the implementation plan in that section does say design and architect. If you don't, I'm sure you don't have a copy when you look at it. One of the things that talks about here, one of the things that we're going to do is the redesign and redevelop of Lomita Park. So our new plan so when we decided to go for the bond again this year, and I'm glad it passed Measure J, Lomita Park was the #1 reason that we, as a board, we decided to go for it as a whole. So, so we decided to revise the master plan because some of the projects in the past has been done. Some of the projects in the master plan right now, it still needs to be there's a lot of revision. Some are still done. There's some things that as a board, we need to sit down and talk about it and kind of figure out what is our priorities. I know there's a lot of priorities and there's more spending than actual projects that we have. But I think one of the things that once we pass, we passed this master plan is because, I don't even want to call it a master plan, it's a guideline for us to move forward, to create a master plan, how we're going to move forward. But I think it's just that we need to move forward and for us to start with the project. So I think, but I'm going to open up to my colleagues, and I think they have some things to share. But I just wanted to give you an update and kind of a background of how the process went. So, so there's just it's transparency, no confusion, and we'd love to come to Lomita Park, to a PTA meeting, coffee, and kind of give an opportunity for parents that were not allowed to, couldn't make it here, and have some questions. Or maybe you go home and you say, oh, we have some additional questions that relate to Lomita Park. We'd love to come down and have a discussion with you, just to be transparent. So I just want to open up to my colleagues for any comments, discussions before we continue the motion.
My heart breaks that you had to read that. And it was unnecessary. It didn't have to happen. I can assure you that we had no idea that that was in that plan, and I understand that it is a quote plan, and we're supposed to be giving all the alternatives, but never once have we thought about closing any school in our district, let alone Lomita Park. And I can understand your anxiety because you've heard this before. I've heard it before over the years. You've been on the block so many times, and we've talked about passing a bond, and if we can just pass a bond, then we can build this state-of-the-art facility. We build it, they will come. Everyone's going to be wanting to come to Lomita Park, right? And so when these kinds of things cross your screen, I am just heartbroken that you had to read that. And I applaud Superintendent Hickey for taking this out of this guide, because it is a guide, it's not a plan. And so going forward, we haven't even, we have a meeting coming up next week. I think we're planning the week after next. We're starting our meetings right away on how we're going to be moving forward, how we're going to get, we're looking at all the schools. There are safety issues. When I was reading over the priority ones, it says immediate needs, code compliance, focusing on safety, critical building systems, student welfare, improving functionality, learning environments, equipment. I mean, Rudy, you know what's going on here. I mean, come on. I mean, these are things, whether or not we passed a bond, we have to take care of certain things, right? And so we have to not exhaust, but we have to look at all those buckets that we have in our district and use them for our kids. It's not about putting anything in the maintenance yard as far as I'm concerned, Rudy, sorry. It's for the children. And so I just want you to have our word that this type of thing should never have ever happened. And I'm so sorry it did. And I think you know my heart by now that I've been an advocate for equity my whole time in Millbrae. And we're going to make sure that equity happens, because equal is not equitable. It's two different words. So we want equity. So again, I'm sorry, and we're going to do better. We're going to do better for you. And the meetings will be posted, communication will be ongoing, and so we want you all to be right shoulder to shoulder with us. Okay? Thank you.
I'd also like to apologize to the Lomita Park community and for whoever else may have read that and been alarmed. I certainly was alarmed as well. It was never anyone's intention to ever consider a feasibility study, at least that I know of on this board and down below with our cabinet. It was never anybody's idea to at all think about a feasibility study. So it's always been a full commitment from this board, as far as I know, in terms of being committed to rebuilding Lomita Park. So I just want to rest assured and have the community understand that. And I do want to thank Superintendent Hickey for her quick reply and, and many apologies for the damage that those bullet points sort of created and caused. I think that was sort of a lack of knowledge about our community and what our commitment is. So anyway, I just want to reiterate that. And I do agree with Trustee Ferrario that we are going to build a state-of-the-art school that will be the most amazing school out of all of our schools, the most modern, the most equipped, so that all of our students have actually more and be the school that everybody wants to attend. So as far as this master plan, there are definitely some things on here that are not fully, I think, vetted, in my opinion. There are some things that are still questionable as to whether or not they should be priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. There's a few things on there that seem like we may have already kind of had completion, or maybe changing the bell system at Glen Oaks, which is not necessary. So there's a couple of things that are kind of loose ends, a little bit sloppy. I have to admit, I'm not 100% comfortable approving it as is, but I also understand the urgent need to sort of put this to rest and move forward so that we can kind of get started as quickly as possible, given the revised language, to get started as quickly as possible in trying to kind of put this to rest and then start on the implementation planning, of which we have some meetings that will be open to the public to start talking about how we are going to actually agree on the priorities that are priority 1, agree on our drawdowns, and agree on the process for getting started. But I just wanted to make clear that there are some things in here that I'm not 100% fully on board with in terms of, okay, this priority 1 list is exactly what we're gonna do. No, I'm not quite there, and I think that's where we as a board are going to work and have a process for reestablishing what exactly our priorities are and how we will go and vote on each of the spendings as they come. So I'm just gonna put that caveat out there.
I'm glad you said that. I would, so the board decided to do a revise of master plan, but technically speaking, we really didn't need it. We could have gone with the 2018 one. So I'm just saying, I don't see this new document as a master plan. I see it as a guideline. And I agree with Trustee Chen. I'm not very comfortable moving forward, but I know we have to because we got a plan for the summer. But I would love for us to, as a board, to go ahead and pass it, but pass it as a guideline to create a master plan or an implementation plan moving forward. And I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, because I'm not really comfortable doing it, but I guess we'll have to do it just because we need to move forward the process. And we do have a meeting scheduled tentatively to start doing that work, but thoughts?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, yeah.
So, I took this really personal. Writing this down, I mean, I was just appalled. The anxiety was through the roof with me. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, can I go? Go ahead. I just wanted to thank our parents and community members who came out and Superintendent Hickey, because I think this shows what transparency means in a school district. There was a concern and it was through a process and addressed, and I think that's what reassures me, knowing that we're going forward in the right direction. So thank you all for coming out. And I agree with what our board had said, so I'm not going to say the same thing again.
So first of all, we've been talking about this, and so right now our first study session for the bond is tentatively set for Friday, February 21st from 4 to 6, location to be determined, but it will be close by somewhere in our district office. And also, I just want to clarify before, the motion on the table is just to approve, and so I want to just make sure it's specific. So I think I would recommend that you amend it to say to approve the revised version that was presented this evening before we vote on it. Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the revised the revised master plan presented this evening.
Second.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've sort of said it already, but I'm ready to approve as long as this is not seen as a 100% commitment, but a guideline.
it's true, because I know this is on record, it's in minutes, but I don't think an average person is gonna go looking for minutes and meetings. They're gonna look at the master plan, it's gonna be downloaded on our website, and this is what they're gonna see. And I'm just a bit worried about that, they might get that's my worry, is someone's gonna go look at the master plan on their website, and they're gonna say, what the, because there's some things on there that should not be on there. So how do we move forward with that? I mean, I get it, we wanna pass through this, get through this so we can move on, but how do we get past through the fact that we need a document that gets downloaded on the website, like the 2018, and be comfortable, as a board, if I'm gonna pass this, I wanna be comfortable that when someone reads it, that they're not gonna think, what are these psychos thinking? Because there's some things on there that should not be on there. So it's just my thoughts, and putting in minutes and put it in a meeting, I don't expect someone to read that. So how do we kind of move ahead?
I guess what I'm sort of asking for is a little bit of a caveat, saying, I approve the master plan as amended, yet this is only to serve as a guide, and that we are not committing ourselves to the exact priorities that are listed. One, they add up to more than what we could actually potentially fund. And two, I just don't want to be locked into somebody coming back and saying, wait, but that was my priority one, why isn't it getting done? It's in the master plan, you approved it, didn't you agree that that's 100% what you're gonna do? So I just wanna make sure that people understand what we're actually approving and how it will be used, that's all. And I don't know if we need to caveat that in the motion or not.
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I think, in all fairness to Mary, you weren't here when we were going through all these reiterations. And we did make a suggestion that when our previous CBO and Rudy and our maintenance team went and visited all of the school sites and asked them for their priorities and wrote everything down, that I think that it's changed a bit. And so I mentioned that perhaps another meeting at every school site should happen now to say, we're looking at, have you changed your priorities? Would you like to edit something? Is there something that came up that you didn't think of? So I think that's first. And then can we agree that, I know the writing says it's a plan and we're calling it a guide, but can we label it and I've heard this term so many times, a living, breathing document? That means that we can change it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can't change.
Does that work?
Yes, I mean, I guess I would comment on a few things. One of the things that there is that I will present to the board first before putting out is there is a one-pager that kind of talks about the facilities master plan. It actually does not have budgets or priority 1, 2, 3, 4, but does include the 5 bucket items. So the student-centered environment, safety and security. And so that is, I think, more digestible for the community as a whole to look at that. It's really 2 pages back and front. So I hear you. I think you're more than welcome to add that language to the motion if you would like, but just also keep in mind that any future project, right? We go through a board process. So, if we are going to look at single point of entry for one of our schools, right, that would have to be board approved. Every project, if we are going to hire an architect firm to do plans for Lomita Park build, right, that would be probably a RFP, a request for proposal, formal process. So every step will need to have board action that takes place. So I guess I would just mention that, but again, if you want to amend it again to include certain language, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I would like to amend it. I think it just for the sake of being transparent and honest with ourselves. And again, that process is, again, who knows that our facility is better than Rudy? And again, if I can get Rudy come up here, he'll probably tell us a list of things that he wants to do that's already falling apart that needs to be done ASAP, right? And so we do have a tentative study session for kind of starting that process, but I think I would love, and one of the things that I think Superintendent Hickey mentioned that is the hire of an architect between now and end of the year for Lamita Park, but I would love for us to come to Lamita Park and talk to the parents in terms of, you guys live there every day, students, parents, teachers, you know the school more than we do, and we'd love to hear your input at what you think, important things that you want at that school site, that because you deal with it every single day, you have a different insight than we do. So anyway, so if there's no set the motion, is that we
So I
will
think
put
there's,
a couple of motions on the table.
Right.
But we need, can we revise, I don't know if that we're able to revise the actual plan and say guides instead of master.
Maybe, Trustee Chin, can you reiterate what you mentioned as you would approve it as amended? How did, I forget what your wording was.
Well, the motion is to approve the facilities master plan update as amended to the document that we received this evening. But
To
that-
include are we looking at the one page Lisa's talking about over here?
no, I don't think you would include that, but I think
Okay.
if you wanted to include your language in the motion of, you know, to approve this, but as a guide or whatever, I will let you, Trustee Chin, make a motion, and then if it's seconded.
We can
move-
wordsmith on the fly.
Yes.
Where's ChatGPT?
Poor Linda is gonna have to go back and, but she will get there.
We will get to the right.
Yeah, the motion is, as we had already stated, with the expectation that this facilities plan, master plan is only a guide and not a promise to, what's the word, to, perform all of the items that are as listed. And that we will be, it's getting longer and longer.
I second.
Okay, you can keep going. Linda, you got this?
We need a whole page just for the title.
Okay, help me out, peeps.
Okay, all right. We can motion it as revised with the page 11 and 12. We got that part, and I would say it's a guide, it's a facilities guide plan update.
Without a commitment
Yeah.
to,
It's a guide, and so,
it's a guide and not a commitment.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Guide and not a commitment.
I need.
I second that one too.
Any help from guys?
Oh, yes, thank you. The living, breathing
It's a
document.
living, breathing, working document.
Okay, so
Poor Linda.
I appreciate everyone's.
Linda,
thoughts,
you
but
got this?
I'm
Okay, we need to
actually a
clarify
little-
where Linda.
I'm a little concerned that the way that we have amended this has three different things. So I am going to suggest that someone take it, and that's going to be final. No one else can add to it. You can second the motion, or you can re-amend it, but I think the concern about just adding all of these different pieces is going to be confusing. So someone, I don't know if Trustee Ching, you want to take a stab at it again, but then she's writing it down. Okay, sounds good. But
So
I
leave
just,
it-
I'm sorry to be this way, but I just
No, it's
think
better that way.
I
I just
need
couldn't
it-
think on the fly.
So you need a motion. You need a motion,
We
correct?
want a motion that is clear, one stated, and then someone has a chance to second it, and then when we have it all established and said as a chain and not with add-ons, then you can vote on it.
I know, poor Linda.
Okay. We got the
Say
first
anything.
part. Okay. Provided this is a working document that will be used as a guide to be updated and agreed upon by the board. Or, let me see.
That's
Use
okay.
a guide to be updated. To be updated, and priorities and projects to be agreed upon by the board.
Okay, do you mind stating the entire motion
You have to go back
again
to where amended as
from the
tonight.
beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the facilities master plan update as amended per the documents received tonight, provided this is seen as, or this is a working document that will be used as a guide that will be updated with priorities and projects agreed upon by the board.
You get that, Linda?
Yeah.
I'll
Got it?
second that.
So you need a second?
I second it.
Second, all,
Got a second?
all right, all.
Third.
Third, okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion carried. That was a workout, okay, all right. All right, next, 25-26 school calendar.
Okay, so we're bringing this back. We already approved the first and last day of school at a previous meeting. At this point, though, we work with both our teachers union and CSEA to create the entire calendar, which includes professional development days and non-school days. I will say that it was a little tricky based on when Veterans Day falls this year. Veterans Day falls on a Tuesday, and so you have to observe it on November 11th. You cannot observe it on the Monday. So we are going, this calendar does have a few changes from previous years. It does have a non-student day on the Monday, the 10th, and then Veterans Day, because I think we would have a lot of absences if we didn't have,
Monday.
we had school Monday, but then a day off on Tuesday. But Thanksgiving week is also a change a little where we do have school the Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, which aligns with the high school schedule. So I will point those out, and we will definitely communicate to families because we know that there is a difference.
Okay, so this is a action item. Yes, it's an
It
action
is an
item.
action
So I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion, questions? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next is public disclosure collective bargaining with CSEA. Superintendent Hickey.
I'm actually going to pass this one off to
Oh,
CBO, Mary.
okay, our CBO.
Introduce this.
All right, thank you. Thank you for giving me opportunity to speak on this item. This is an update of the AB 1200 due to the recent tentative agreement between the Millbrae Elementary School District and the CSEA for only based on two elements. The Article 9 on the attachment for the longevity and the cell phone stipend. So because of the increases in longevity for multiple years and the cell phone stipend is now added, its impact a little bit on the financial. So we obligated to update. And so the amount is about $27,000. If that, but is not for this school year. It won't affect anything this year until July 1st for the next school year. It's just that we submitted that before under the multi-year projection that you approved on the first interim of last school year that I wasn't here. But now I'm here, so I'm obligated to follow through. And so it's just an update. So we bring to your attention and for you to reapprove so that we can submit to the county.
Okay. This is an action item. I need a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second. Any questions, discussions?
Yeah, I just have a question. So thank you for explaining that, Mary. Now I understand what I'm looking at a little bit more. I noticed in column 2 that classified salaries go up by 27,000 and the benefits, but then that the other operating expenses goes down by 27,000. So it's a net of 0. Is that basically, there's no financial impact?
Correct.
It's just a adjustment to the things. Okay, understood. Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, board governance, CSBA policy updates.
So we bring to you a few board policy and administrative regulation updates. In general, we try to update these on a regular basis, but specifically, we are bringing a new policy of 5145.13, the response to immigration enforcement. We have these here for you to review, and typically what we do is then we put it on the consent agenda for the next meeting. So it'll go on the consent agenda on the February 18th meeting.
This is not an action item, so any discussions, any questions regarding the policies?
No, but I'm excited to approve these, and then I know we had discussed the possibility of potentially putting these into the school safety plans or an addendum potentially later if need be.
Yes.
So the immigration enforcement, is that a new policy or an updated?
It is a new policy. I actually was at an Access Superintendent's symposium last week, and of course, this was a big topic for our superintendents to be discussing. I attended a session on immigration enforcement, and that was given by a legal firm, and they talked to us about making sure you look at your board policy 5145.13. I looked at our policies. We did not currently have that. So that is why it's on the agenda to add that. And, you know, the California School Board Associations often gives you sample language, and so we did pull that language directly from CSBA.
Okay, thank you. Future agenda items. Any recommendations, guys? Do you have one?
I don't know whether we need it on possible future agenda items, but, you know, we're going to be scheduling our board study sessions. So that would be kind of an ongoing item that would be on our agendas.
Yeah, definitely. Any thoughts? I'd like to bring a couple, I know we've mentioned this a few times in the past, and that is the PE curriculum at Taylor. I know we've talked about it in the past, but we never got an actual document for us to approve. I know the guidelines probably have changed, and the discussion in the past was how do we align Taylor Middle School PE guidelines that meets with the standards of Mills High School moving forward. And also, I think it's a great opportunity that we have our joint meeting with our PTAs and MEFs and PTOs. We haven't had that. Did we have one this year yet? No. I would love to schedule an meeting, an opportunity for us to have more of a discussion than just a board meeting like this. So, and never mind, I'm going to keep it at that. Okay. All right. Any other ones? No. All right. Thank you guys for being here. I enjoyed the discussion and looking forward to more discussions with you guys at Lamita Park. Our next meeting will be on the 17th in H7, and it will be on YouTube, right? So anyway, meeting adjourned.